Hello, my friends, and welcome back. In today's Sewcialite Quilt Along, we are doing block 34, the Passion Block designed by Corey Nelson. I have cut out all the fabric I need for the 6-inch block, and if you're following along with me and doing a different size, just make sure to have everything cut what it says to do. From Fat Quarter Shop, you can download this PDF, and I have all the information in the description below. I just decided to do the 6-inch block. It was the medium-sized block, and I figured it would be fun. I usually do larger blocks, so I just thought, why not try a smaller block? Now, I have never done a block with points like this on a diagonal. Just bear with me as I am very new at doing these type of blocks. It's a really simple block to sew together as is shown in the instructions. It's just getting these precisely correct. That's the tricky part. I have cut out in my background fabric here, I've got two 3 3/4 inch squares and 4 1.5 by 2 inch rectangles. In my printed fabric, I have 4 1.5 by 3 inch rectangles. I have 4 2 inch squares, and I have 1 1.5 inch square. The first step you'll need to do is take 4 D's, your 4 B's, and your 1 E, and get them all ready. And we're gonna lay it out in this pattern here, and I will lay it out here, and then we're gonna sew each row and then sew those rows together to make the center unit. So let me just get that set aside and get everything organized, and I will come back. Okay, I have laid out the blocks here, and as you can see, I have D, B, and E, and this is how it goes. So D's on each corner, and B's are going to be in the center, and in the middle it's going to be on the outside, or you could look at it this way in the middle of these two. I guess it all depends on how you look at it, right? I've already sewn the bottom row, and this is what you're going to do with the middle row and the top row. So you'll have a finished row like this for each bottom, middle, top. I will do that for this, and then I'll show you what I do next. Here we have first row sewn together, our middle row, and our bottom row. And now what I like to do is I'll take either the top or the bottom, doesn't really matter, line up the seams, and if you're afraid that they're not going to line up, you can always pin them together and then sew your 1/4 inch, iron it open, and then do the same for the middle. With the top, you're gonna line up your seams, pin it if you would like, and then sew your 1/4 inch seam, and then iron it open, and that'll be the end of the center block. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done sewing these rows together. Then we will go on to the next step. As you can see here, I have the center unit all sewn together. All the rows are sewn together. I've ironed my seams open. Now I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to take A and C. Well, actually A first, because what you're going to do with your 2 pieces of A, which are 3 3/4 inches squared, you are going to cut this diagonally from point to point. As you can see here, I've already done it with one of them. Basically cut here and here. I've taken my rotary cutter and my straight edge, and you'll need to make 8 of these triangles. I'll put these aside and I will show you what I do. So I just take this and sort of put it like that. You can draw a line if you want from corner to corner. It's up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. And I just line up the straight edge as best I can with the points, and then cut, and then move this like this, cut again, best I can. And there we go. I have cut the other 4 triangles, so you should have a total of 8. And now with your C, you are going to make these units, and they're the 4 corner units. So you are going to just do it like this. Basically take your C, and it is going to line up here and here like this. And the best thing to do is do like you sew it like you do the rows. You'll line it up on the edge and on this edge here and this edge here, and then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam here. Then you are going to iron it open and then do the same on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the 4 corners, and I'll show you what they look like when I'm done. I've finished sewing together the end units, as you can see here. Just show you, I haven't cut anything off yet because I want to sew these to the sides of my center unit first, and then I'm going to take a straight edge and cut them off, because this will eventually come to a point and it'll be your corner of your block. Now you will need your center block, and you will have it on. And then what you're gonna do is you are going to add these end units to each side like this, as you can see here. And you can then just match up the seams with these seams and sew them together. Best to pin it. I think it'll stop it from shifting, and you'll get your seams in alignment. And then once all these are done, I'll come back and I will show you what I do when it's sewn together, and I'll trim it off and you'll see what I'm talking about with the points. This is the tricky part, so definitely pin it, okay? All right, as you can see here, I have sewn 2 of the ends on, and I've done the opposite of each other, and that's what I'm gonna do with these last 2 as well. And so when it's all sewn together, we'll trim it all up and we'll have our finished block. Here we have the finished sewn block, and I'm just gonna show you my trimming up skills. Get this actually lined up on this line. There we go. All right, line this up with the grid underneath, and then cut it. And all of your, I like to call dog ears, are cut away. And then I just am going to do it for the rest of the block, just like this. There we go. And there we go. Go. And then the last one here, and there is our finished passion block. And this was designed by Carrie Nelson, and it was created by fatquartershop.com, and this has been the Sewcialites Quilt Along. For next week's project, we are doing block number 35, compassion block, designed by Ann Sutton. And you won't need much. I'm doing the 6-inch block, so I'll be cutting for that. But if you're doing the 3 or the 9, just follow along in the description what sizes you require. In the background fabric, I'm going to need 1 3-inch square, as well as 4 2.5-inch squares. And in my printed fabric, I'll need 1 3-inch square and 3 2.5-inch squares. This will be a really beginner-friendly quilt block, as you can see, and it shouldn't take us too long to get that done. And then we'll be on to block 36, and that will be our last block. Then we can lay out the pattern. Join me next weekend, and I will show you how I sew block 35 together. Thank you all for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful quilt day. Bye!